If you call yourself a proud American, please listen now. This is including all the people that don't consider themselves racist, but they are. This also considers everyone that is born here in the United States of America. The Supreme Court has just issued an allowance to end birthright citizenship that was being injunctioned by other court rulings. You know, there was other courts that were like, nope, we're not allowing that. Birthright citizenship is a birthright to be here in America. It doesn't matter where your parents are from. If you're born on this soil, you are American. Well, the Supreme Court, obviously, we all know that they are much more conservative. They have now said that it is okay and that law or that ruling for Trump's administration can start to take effect. Now, if you're a proud American and you go by the Constitution, you go by the laws, then you should be pissed off, because slightly and surely we are entering fascism and we are going into an authoritarian and dictatorship state. Please be scared. Please be wary. If you are American and you love the United States, this is against everything that we go for. And keep in mind, in our Constitution, the Founding Fathers did say that if our government is not being ruled by the people or for the people, you can overthrow them. So do what you want with that information.
They are not bringing back slavery with whips and plantations. They are bringing it back through paperwork, policy, executive orders, and silence. This isn't new. This is a recycled playbook, and it's already been written in blood. I once heard a Jewish woman tell the story of the night of broken glass, Kristallnacht. That was the moment when Nazis went out and shattered the windows of Jewish homes, schools, and businesses. Synagogues were set on fire. People were attacked in the street. And no one came to help. That was a turning point. Because when the Nazis saw that no one intervened, no neighbors, no allies, no other governments, they knew they could take it further. That was the green light for the Holocaust. What started with broken glass ended in genocide. That same pattern is being used right here, right now. They tested it on immigrants, people with foreign names, people of color who could be quietly disappeared from schools, homes, hospitals, airports, people dragged from their lives and deported to countries they didn't even come from. No trials, no oversight, no justice, just unchecked power. And when no one came to stop it, they knew they could push further. Because the real target was never them. It was always us. Black people. Immigrants were the test subjects, the dress rehearsal. But the main act was always about revoking our rights, our citizenship, our existence. Birthright citizenship is next on the chopping block. And understand, the 14th Amendment wasn't created to serve immigrants. It was created to correct the crime of slavery, to finally recognize us, the descendants of the enslaved, as citizens, as humans.
Hello, my beautiful people. I hope you're doing fantastic. And it's always a pleasure to have you here in my channel. So after the Supreme Court ruling that could end birthright citizenship, Black Americans are not just concerned. They are outraged. Why? Because this is not about migration. This is about control. This is about reminding black, brown, and immigrant babies that their existence is conditional. That if you don't have generational wealth, land, title deeds, you are permanently under review. Today it's birthright citizenship. Tomorrow it could be your freedom. This system isn't just broken. It is being reprogrammed to erase the very people it never wanted in the first place. If they can change the rules of who belongs, they can change the rules of who is free. So we have to speak up. We have to continue firing. And remember, it won't just stop with just one group. So let's get to see the reactions of Black Americans, and then we come back with a deep analysis about this topic, all right? Make sure you watch till the end because it's deep, okay? Let's dive into it.
Let me make one thing real clear. This ain't about injunctions. This is about erasing the 14th Amendment with a smile. We thought the courts were supposed to be the last line of defense, the place where liberty stands tall even when presidents go rogue. But on Friday, in a 6-3 decision straight down party lines, the Supreme Court told us, nah, we good. They let Trump sneak his foot in the door to cancel birthright citizenship. And they dressed it up in legal jargon about equity and injunctions. Oh, but don't get distracted. The real target was always your rights, especially if you was born with brown skin, immigrant parents, or ancestors who came here in chains rather than visas. For a second, it looked like the lower courts might hold the line, right? 3 federal judges had already slapped Trump's executive orders down with nationwide injunctions, telling him loud and clear, you can't just rewrite the Constitution because you feel like it. Immigrant groups were celebrating. 22 states stood up in court. Even the appellate courts said, let this play out. Then SCOTUS slid in like a repo man in the night. Instead of ruling on whether Trump's executive order was flat out unconstitutional, which it was, they sidestepped it and went for the technical foul. Universal injunctions go too far. God damn it. Basically, the court said that judges can't stop Trump's policies for everyone. Only the people who specifically sued. So now we're playing legal whack-a-mole across 50 states while Trump rushes to implement a policy that directly contradicts 150 years of law. So what's at stake, right? Everything. Let me break this down plain and simple. Trump's executive order says, if your parents weren't here legally, or maybe they were here legally but temporarily, you don't deserve citizenship. Are you serious? The 14th Amendment that was passed after the Civil War to make sure that Black folks were considered full human beings says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. It don't say except for immigrants. It don't say only if your parents had papers. It says all persons. A phrase so fucking inclusive, it slapped the face of Dred Scott and every slave master of the fucking Confederacy. So what Trump is really doing here is rewriting Reconstruction. The very laws meant to undo slavery. And the Supreme Court just handed him the pen. You thought Isengard was bad? You thought Voldemort was a problem? Justice Amy Coney Barrett, Trump's handpicked avatar, penned this majority opinion like it was a legal lullaby, with principles of equity, she says, while politely gutting the power of federal courts to stop executive tyranny. And while they didn't officially cancel birthright citizenship yet, make no mistake, they laid the legal groundwork to allow Trump to do it himself. In the dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, she tried to hold the line, calling out how this decision disregards the long history of protection for non-parties. But her voice is now a lonely alarm in a house full of arsonists. This ain't about immigration. This is about control. It's about telling people of color, especially Black, brown, or immigrant babies, that their existence is conditional. That if you ain't got the generational wealth, land deeds, or ancestors off the Mayflower, you're permanently under review. Today is birthright citizenship. Tomorrow is voting rights. Affirmative action, gone. Housing, gone. Education, you got it, gone. When does it stop? In the MAGA cult, they're going to keep smiling in your face, talking about this is what we voted for. This is what the founders wanted. Don't forget, y'all, the founders owned slaves. They're not playing. Trump told you on day one what he was coming for. And this court just gave him the green light to drive through your rights like a bulldozer in a graveyard. So don't wait on the Constitution to bleed before you speak up. Because if birthright citizenship can be reviewed, so can your freedom.
To undo that amendment is to undo Black humanity. To erase us without having to say it outright. Because once you are not considered legal, they can lock you up, strip you down, put you to work, and no one will question it. It'll all be by the book. But that book is being rewritten daily. That's how you bring back slavery without ever saying the word. Now they're talking about reputable farmers taking responsibility for their workers. Excuse me? That's not employment. That's ownership. That's rebranding plantations in plain sight. They're even building camps again, facilities with no clear purpose, no oversight, and no timeline for release. Ask yourself, why do you need camps for citizens? That is not about safety. This is about power. And while all this is happening, while constitutional rights are being shredded and democracy hangs on by a thread, here comes Elon Musk, finally saying there's a big evil bill being passed that's going to take from the citizens and give to the rich. Really? You don't get to sound the alarm now. You helped build the machine. You gave Trump a platform. You amplified propaganda. You played a part in rigging the discourse and possibly the vote. Now, when it's convenient, you want to pretend to be neutral, a concerned bystander. No. You are complicit. You are part of the rot. You are not a savior. You are a silent partner. And let's be real. If you had the power to undo what's happening and you chose not to, then you're choosing the side of oppression. And when the reckoning comes, may it come for everyone responsible. Because Trump is not original. He's following the same strategy used by Hitler, Mussolini, Franco, Pinochet. Take away rights little by little, test your violence on smaller groups, silence the press, dismantle the courts, stack the judges, eliminate oversight. Then when it's time, go at the people you were really targeting all along. That's where we are now. So don't tell me I'm overreacting. Don't tell me it's just politics. Don't tell me to wait and see. I've seen enough. They are trying to enslave us again. And this time, it will look legal. It will sound lawful. It will come wrapped in national security and jobs, and public safety. But it's slavery, nonetheless.
So the Supreme Court decided to allow this man to move forward in his attempt to end birthright citizenship. And I'm really trying not to freak the fuck out, because I have been trying to hold conversations about this, in community and online with black folks. And it just really petrifies me that we collectively don't have enough care and concern for what this could potentially mean for us. Like, people are really falling for the propaganda that this is about undocumented people. And it's not at all. And it is absolutely about trying to reestablish the formal power that white supremacy used to have in this country, right? The outright blatant power. Like, I think we really don't understand that once them folks lost that Civil War, they were on a mission to get back everything that they lost in the aftermath. And when we were able to bring down Jim Crow and get the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, that incentivized the mission even more, right? It put a battery in their back, right? And I think we don't understand that these people, all this time, have been fighting to restore this country to what it was prior to the Civil War. And I think when people say that, when we talk about this country going back to that type of system and that type of structure socially and politically, people think that we are just, being radical and extreme, and it's happening right in front of us. It's literally happening right in front of us. Like, he literally got up there on that press conference and said that birthright citizenship was something that was for the slaves. And I need y'all to understand that that's how they still see us. He didn't say black people for a reason. My God. It's not funny. It's not funny, but laughing sometimes is my trauma response. Cause bitch, what is, like, I just can't. I can't do it. And
So
So I don't know if y'all saw the recent Supreme Court ruling. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. But they sided with the Trump administration on nationwide injunctions, which was preventing birthright citizenship, which was preventing Trump's birthright citizenship executive order from going in effect. And so essentially it's a 30-day pause before whatever guidance they put out will go in effect, which essentially means that you can't do a nationwide injunction to curtail some of his executive orders, which essentially means that it puts 250,000 children. It puts 250,000 children in limbo. And we know that they don't want to stop there. They've already been trying to position to put U.S. citizens in foreign jails, which we know a lot of that will be Black and brown people. And the Supreme Court basically said that they can rewrite the Constitution unilaterally. So it seems the only way to protect yourself or your child, and like, I'm trying not to cry, but as a mom, it's hard to imagine you not knowing if your child is safe. Citizenship is like the bedrock of the Constitution. If you're born on the land of the United States of America, you're a citizen. So for the court to put out this order and then not even comment on the merits, which essentially puts all us in limbo, it takes years to get to the Supreme Court. That means you can be a citizen in California, but you might not be a citizen in Texas. And we've already seen them use the National Guard to go and usurp the governor of California. And the courts have already ruled in that situation that they have the ability to usurp the governor and use the National Guard if they feel like it. And we all read that executive order where he wants to do that. So you could essentially have ICE agents going into hospitals and ripping children from their mom. Where does that stop? He's starting with immigrants, but we know that's not their goal. The architect of all this was the Heritage Foundation, with the use of Stephen Miller, with the idea that immigrants were making the country more diverse. In order to fill that diversity, you have to essentially remove that population from the country. So now it's immigrants. Next, it might be nationalized citizens. Next, it might be Black Americans. And like, the 14th Amendment was made specifically because there were a bunch of slaves that did not have a place, that weren't U.S. citizens. So they had the 14th Amendment so that all people would be citizens. And essentially, all that's in limbo, as well as all of the other nationwide injunctions that were put against the Trump administration are now in limbo. The only option, it seems now, is to have a class action lawsuit, which takes a long time to farm, and you literally would have to have your name on that lawsuit to have any kind of form of protection. And there's no telling that the Trump administration won't argue that that class action lawsuit, that class, isn't illegal. Because let's say if you're not a legal citizen here, then what was preventing them from saying that you don't also benefit from our laws and the ability to have class action lawsuits? I'm so sorry I did this crying. Like, I just can't imagine.
Here's something I personally feel like not enough people are talking about. The Trump administration has just escalated denaturalization efforts across the U.S. There was a DOJ memo released this month that stated the Department of Justice now says it will prioritize stripping citizenship from naturalized Americans, even through civil cases with no jury and no guaranteed lawyer. They're calling it a crackdown on fraud, war crimes, and gangs. But the wording is vague and the net is wide. They're targeting 25 million naturalized citizens. Civil denaturalization means the government just has to prove you lied on a form, maybe 20 years ago, and you're no longer a citizen. Now, technically, judges are supposed to oversee this, but let's be so fucking for real. Based on Trump's behavior this term, how much do you trust he'll actually respect the courts? This isn't just about immigration. It's about creating a second-class status for people who weren't born here, and it could easily affect entire communities. If citizenship can be undone, what's really protecting our rights anymore.
This is not just political, it's spiritual, it's psychological, it's cultural, and it's legal. So if you think your degree, your job title, or your neighborhood will protect you, think again. This system is being restructured so that none of that matters. We are watching the erasure of Black citizenship in real time. And we've seen it before. So I'll end it with this. We will not be the new victims of an old system. We will not be the ghosts of Tulsa or Oscarville or Seneca Village. This is not 1921. We are not unarmed. We are not isolated. We are not unaware. We are watching, recording, organizing, and ready. This time, we will not go quietly. This time, we will not go back. And this time, we fight.
Being in America right now, it should be added in the Guinness Book of Records, because the rate at which the syllabus has gone this year, it's only 6 months. He has been in power for only 6 months, and the thing we are seeing, oh my goodness, it will make you go crazy. Anyway, this is bigger than citizenship. This is about relating the rules of belonging. Black Americans are speaking because they see what's coming, all right? So if the Constitution can be bent to deny citizenship at birth, then it can also be bent to deny freedom, rights, and dignity. It sends a chilling message. If you don't come from a generational wealth, if you don't have a title deed, if you don't have land, if your skin isn't the right shade, you are permanently under review. You are not safe. And that's why this moment calls for unity, awareness, and resistance. Because when they move to erase one group history, it has shown us it never stops there. They can remove even for Black Americans, all right? Yeah, so let's keep fighting, let's keep speaking out, and together we are united, and we're gonna conquer, all right? Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and share and like. I'll see you in the next video, all right? Have a good one.